All right, welcome back to another episode of Cover 2, the show that's all about high school football with Justin and the preacher, Mr. Chris McCurley.
Good to
preacher,
see you.
How we doing today?
We're doing good. Good to see you again, Justin. I'm excited about our guest today. Coach T's with us from D.C., and we're going to talk to him. And we've got a lot of football on the horizon, finally.
Absolutely.
We've been waiting. We've got Tennessee playing Virginia. I believe that's September the 2nd. 11 o'clock in the morning at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. We got Vanderbilt's going to host Hawaii coming up on August the 26th. That's going to be at First Bank Stadium in Nashville. And then we've got Titans preseason coming up August 12th. They're going to play the Bears, I believe it is. Is that right? Maybe?
Sounds right.
So don't quote me on that. And then their first regular season game is September the 10th at New Orleans. So lots of football coming up. Of course, we're dedicated to our local teams, DC and Creekwood, and the countdown has begun for that one, the big rivalry to start the year. And then, of course, we've got some scrimmages happening, even between the middle schools. So
absolutely. A lot of football right around the corner. I guess today's focus is we're back on Dixon County. We've kind of been going back and forth each week. But Dixon County has got a big schedule, and looking forward to talking to Coach and seeing where we're at.
Yeah. So, Coach T, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We said last week if we had an applause machine or something, maybe we could get some applause, but, just pretend. Yeah, we're so glad to have you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We record this earlier, and so we got school starting tomorrow, and then you guys had a scrimmage Friday where you scrimmaged Greenbrier. Assessment of the scrimmage, you think it went well?
It's a typical first scrimmage. It was fun. The kids played fast. They love being out there for the first time, hitting some other team with not hitting themselves in practice. Plenty of mistakes. You got a lot to work on, but it was we did have a lot of fun, and there was a lot of improvement, I think, from the spring and back the season before. So it's always good to get out there and have a little fun.
Yeah, I hear coaches say that the measure of success with a scrimmage is nobody gets hurt. So
that's exactly right, and we were good there. We had a couple of just bumps and bruises, but nobody with any kind of major injuries or anything like that. So good day.
Yeah. So most coaches that I've talked to, they're very humble. They don't want to. They keep things close to the vest, but you probably know kind of what you've got. You feel good about the season going into it?
I think so. We were, it's going to be fun. We got a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Mm-hmm. We still are trying to figure out where those puzzle pieces go.
Yeah.
And so there, and I know Brady had told you the same thing. That's the fun part of the preseason is trying to figure out where to plug things in. We are excited. We're cautiously optimistic about the season. We know we got some really good players and really good athletes, and it's we're still a little young. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of underclassmen that's going to be on the field. But the future certainly looks bright.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that youth. You lost some good guys last year. You had a Division I quarterback that left you, and was a good receiver. And talk about some of the key losses, but also some of the guys that are going to fill those spots that you're really excited about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough to lose a Colby Lambert or Ian Benura and those guys that played and made big plays for you. But the biggest thing, and if anybody knows football, they know that the offense and defensive line's where you win football games. Right. And we are way, way improved in that area where, our offense and defensive line have really hit it hard in the weight room. They're a lot stronger. They're a lot bigger. They push people around now, and that was evident Friday night whenever they were going against Greenbrier, and so we're excited about those two groups of position groups. Trevor Ashworth is, that offensive lineman. He kind of anchors the offensive line at left guard, and, he's got some guys around him with Brody Carruthers and some of those guys. It's really going to be fun to watch them work, and they had fun running the football the other night because last year we were, we took advantage of Colby's talents and threw it, but, they knew last night, and I told the guys, I said, listen, we're going to throw the football, but tonight we're focusing on running running the football, and we're going to focus on establishing a run game, and the offensive line really enjoyed doing that.
And that was evident from the very beginning of the scrimmage. You started the scrimmage with a 22-play drive.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch that. I mean, we did have one, a couple of fourth down conversions. When you have 22 plays, that means you're getting 4-5 yards a carry, and we did convert a couple of fourth downs. And we had one touchdown in that drive that got called back on a penalty that we will just say whether or not that was actually whatever. But that was fun to watch. We run a little play where we force them to jump off sides. It's a little thing we call stay no play, and got them to jump off sides. It could give us a first down, but we were able to control the clock and eat up a whole quarter just in one drive, and that's fun stuff.
Yeah, so feel like a success with that first scrimmage. You've got Page coming in here who lost in the state championship last year.
Right.
Good team, some solid guys, Division I guys going to the next level to play. What are you looking for in that scrimmage? What is it that you want to build on?
The same thing. I want to see how we compete against the best, and our offense and defensive line. Again, I want to see how they handle some of those guys, because I know they have an offensive lineman that's going to Clemson, and he's committed to Clemson. He's a 5-star athlete, and let's go see what we can do with those guys. They got a couple of linebackers that's supposed to be really, really good, and still underclassmen too. I think they're only juniors, but how is our offensive line going to handle getting up on the second level of some really good linebackers that's played at a very high level? So we don't shy away from competition. I mean, we play Page this week. Next week we're going against Beach, who's the 6A state runner-up. So let's bring it.
Yeah, let's find out how good we are early, and
right.
and measuring stick kind of thing, but all about preparation for that first game,
right.
The rest of the season.
The season, yeah. There's no, and that's what I told Casey Patrick the other night at the scrimmage. I said, I don't even know what the score was. I don't care what the score was. We don't keep up with a score in a scrimmage. I said, I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about reps. I'm worried about personnel. I'm worried about, seeing depth, or developing depth, and seeing who's going to compete. So we ain't worried about anything of that up through the preseason.
Yeah. And I know you don't want to really focus on, individuals too much, but who are some guys that have kind of stood out to you through practice, through the first scrimmage, that you think maybe even some surprises, some guys that kind of came out of nowhere that you didn't really expect?
I'm not sure if there's. I tell you one that's really not come out of nowhere, but has really been a nice addition is Whit Farrell. Whit is playing tight end for us, and we don't use a tight end all the time, but we'll put a tight end in the game frequently, and he's done a really good job of being really an extra offensive lineman that can catch the football a little bit, and he's made some good plays in practice and did some good stuff on in the game the other night. Not to mention he plays linebacker too, and he's really impressed at linebacker. He reads his keys well. He's a very smart young man. So it's fun to watch him have success. A couple of other guys on the defensive side, Peyton Overton and Luke Markham, and those two guys, golly, they love to bring it, and then they'll hit you, and they have fun doing it, and they're just fun to watch as well.
Yeah. I see you get excited when you talk the offense, because I know that you're a guy that wants to smash mouth.
Yeah.
You want to line up and say, we're running right there, stop us if you can.
Absolutely.
And that was very evident on Friday night, and you've got a stable of running backs.
Yeah, we do, and that's fun to watch too, because we got a couple of sophomores in Elijah Fernandez and Tristan Brown that are fun to watch. You add Malachi Redmond to that. Caleb Frazier's did a really good job at the fullback spot the other night. Ben Hongsermeyer is in the mix, and then one of my favorites of the whole group is Aiden Beard, and Aiden may not be as athletic as say of Malachi Redmond, but he is very intelligent. He's very precision. He does precision work, and he knows exactly what's supposed to be done and knows how to get it done. And it's fun to watch all those guys compete with one another as well, because they're fighting. Each of them's fighting for playing time.
Yeah, it really is. And the quarterback is obviously one of the primary positions on the field. He's going to touch the ball every play. How do you feel about the quarterback position?
You know what's fun about it is we've really competed there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wyatt Gramlin has taken primarily been taking the first snaps, but not every day that we let him take the first snaps. And we've had some. Ray Dotson is really done well there, and so has DeMarcus Strickland. And they've competed. We've had equal reps there. It's funny because Ray is very precise and does a very good job and is very efficient. I wish he was a bit more of a leader. Mm-hmm. Wyatt is the most athletic of the three, but I wish he would he's a little spastic sometimes because he just gets out there. And then DeMarcus is probably the best one that takes command of the offense, and he does a good job of taking command of the offense. But he's still a little young. I mean, he's our sophomore, and he's got a little youth and needs to get a little stronger, a little bigger, and he gets frustrated sometimes because. He knows he can do it. He just but he's got to get it just needs to be a little more a little older. And it's just there's nothing. I've always said that if you're playing a sophomore or a freshman, that equals a loss on your schedule, and you don't really want to play those guys because they're not ready yet. I mean, even if they think they are, they're not. And my last year at Montgomery Central, we went to the second round of the state playoffs, and we started, out of 22 positions, we started 19 seniors and 3 juniors. Yeah. And no sophomores would even think about getting on the field. Yeah. And so, those sophomores get frustrated sometimes, but in reality, they still need to develop.
Absolutely. And I could be wrong on this, but you graduated like 22 seniors from last year. Is that right?
No. It was more around 15, 16, 16, okay. 15, 16. So, I mean, it was still a good number. A good number, right.
And so the team is still very young overall. Yes. But they're going to have to grow up.
Yeah, absolutely. We started last year. We started defensively, really, Dakota Flippo was really the only senior on the field defensively. Yeah. And of the other starting positions, 8 of the 11 were either a sophomore, and one of them was Elijah Fernandez, who was a freshman last year. Yeah. So we had 8 sophomores and a freshman on the field. This year they're all back, and now most of them are juniors, and maybe a sophomore too, and Elijah or somebody like that. Which I'm okay with juniors. That's when they should be getting ready to play, and especially if you're have a pretty good little a bit of ability, you should be on the field as a junior. Sure. And so we're excited about that. I mean, we're still a year away. That's what I keep telling people is like, look, I think we're going to have a lot of success. I think we're going to be a lot better. We're going to put a better product on the field, but we're still a year away from really being where we want to be. Yeah, talk a little bit about that. I know that with coaches, culture is everything. Yeah, and you're coming in here trying to establish your culture, and I think there's a buzz around town that things are changing and that they're going in a really good direction. I think people are really excited about this year, and talk a little bit about establishing your culture, kind of what that culture is based upon, and the direction you see the program heading. Yeah, that's it takes a little time. It's hard to break bad habits and hard to break habits. So when you have older guys that when a new coach comes in. Nothing against the kids or nothing against the older kids that's there when a new coach comes in, but they just have. They're kind of just set in their ways, and it's hard to break them and get them to buy into the new ideas and the new culture. Yeah. So you have to build with the youth, and that's what we've done. We was lucky enough to have a great freshman class come in, a sophomore class that is very large that'll be juniors this year, and they have bought into the idea of what we're trying to accomplish. And I am a big family guy. I'm a big I put God first. first in my life, and we do that in football too, and they, I'm going to do it until somebody tells me I can't, and then I guess it's going to be the end of my coaching career because, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And we do things together as a team. We eat together. We break bread together. We bring in people to speak to the team on Thursdays. We have what I call a character coach on our staff. His name's Mike Spears, and he's there to get us right. Not just coaches or not just players, but the coaches too. And he just wants to bring in moral character and just be all around good people.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be I don't know if that's what you don't have to be like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but anyway, it's just I just want people to generally love being around each other, and that's kind of where it starts, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far.
Yeah, it's a family atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can sense that, you can tell that, and I think it's contagious because
it is.
You can tell a demeanor with the kids that's different with your coaching staff, and I see on Facebook, you guys doing things together as a staff.
Right.
It's going to the river and canoeing or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you really put an emphasis on we're a family. We're
Right.
together so much. We better get along.
Right. Our coaches, we went over to Coach Doggs, who's our running backs coach, and on Saturday, and all the coaches got together over there, and we cooked some chickens over the on the pit, and we just we had a meal together, and all the coaches and wives and families came, and they swam in the pool, and we hung out with each other and had a good time.
Yeah. So I was looking at the schedule from last year versus the schedule for this year, and obviously, the schedule is what it is. You don't always get to pick your region, but
Right.
Got some good teams. Rossview's always good. Clarksville's always
Right.
good. It seems to me, and this is me talking, you would never probably validate this, but it seems to me that getting away from the Metro Nashville schools was probably a pretty good thing. Maybe to some degree, since they, it seems like they are always so good, so competitive and all that. And the schedule is still competitive this year, but talk about the difference in schedule this year from last year. And is that going to be a better?
I think this schedule that we have now is more competitive from top to bottom. There's no bad teams. All teams are have athletes and they can compete well.
Sure.
I don't know that there's any powerhouse teams on our schedule either. Like when we played last year and you were playing a Cane Ridge or somebody that that is really really athletic and has a great staff and does a really good job. But last year's schedule, the Metro schedule, it was feast or famine. You had your Smyrnas and your Cane Ridges and Overtons of the world that were really really good, and then you look at you got Antioch at the other end of it where they're not so good. This year's schedule is right in the middle of that. You have a bunch of teams that are good, but there's no powerhouse standout teams, but there's also no just walkover. You're just not going to walk over any of them either.
Much more balanced.
Much more balanced.
Yeah.
And and the best part about it, I think, is just the closeness to our competition now, where we just got to go up 48 and play Clarksville, or they can come down to us, and we should see better gates. We should see better attendance in things of that nature too. Where unfortunately, you go to Metro and McGavick rolls into Dixon County High School, and we have a good home crowd, but there's only 7 people on the opposing side, because they didn't travel well.
Right.
We should see a lot better travel out of this group. This teams too. So that was part of our thought process when we lobbied to play in this region.
Yeah. I think it's going to. I think you said it very well. The competitive nature is going to be much more balanced. I think that's going to. I think it's going to show. Of course, it's all leading to that first game. You know, and I talked to Coach Theo last week. What's it like? Your first rattle out of the box is a rivalry game. Is that good? I mean, I know a lot of rivalry games are the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Y'all get it over with the very first game. Yeah. Is that good? Is that indifferent?
I think there's some good and bad to it. It definitely brings up an excitement to the kickoff of the season, and it definitely is exciting in Dickson County for that first game. And everybody's talking about it all across the north end of the county and south end, and everybody's talking about it. As a coach, it's not necessarily good because the players put so much stock into that game of playing their rival. Mm-hmm. And then if they don't have success in that game, they could be defeated for the rest of the year, because they just lost their whole, their soul just dropped out of them, and they just, oh my gosh, the season's over. And so as a coach, you don't like it in that aspect because really the game means nothing.
No, that's true.
I was a part of the very first one. Mm-hmm. I was actually on the Creekwood sidelines for the very first one, as the offensive coordinator at Creekwood, and it's unbelievable. The crowd was there 2 hours in advance, and the stadium was standing room only and 3-4 deep all the way around it, and it's fun and exciting. And the players, it's everything to them. But as coaches, and it doesn't really mean a whole lot. I mean, we want to win. Don't get me wrong. We want to win the game, but our goals for the season are not, tarnished at all in that one game. And so, like I said, it's fun to play it early because of the excitement that it brings. But again, at the same time, it's tough whenever the kids put so much stock in it, and it really doesn't mean anything.
No, that's true. As coaches, you want to keep it in the proper perspective, but that's so hard with the kids.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's a make or break.
I mean, it's so hard with the community. Don't get me. I mean, the parents and moms and dads and people out there that played, and that's part of it. Part of the problem for me, I guess. And I don't say problem, but I didn't play. I'm not an alumnus of Dickson County or Creekwood.
Right.
And if you're an alumnus of one of those schools, this game, oh man, it's still big for them. And and it's even as an adult, they're distraught or devastated if it doesn't go your way.
I've noticed that, like you, I'm not an alumnus of either one, and I moved to Dixon. I help out with the baseball team, and a lot of our folks at church, I preach at Walnut Street. A lot of those folks are associated with Dixon County and the school, although we do have some that are Creekwood as well. And I live in Charlotte, pretty close to the school. Yeah, I do the color commentary. We'll be doing the color commentary for Creekwood football, and it's like I feel like I kind of play both sides, and I don't think people want to play both sides. I think they got their loyalties, and
absolutely,
and I love that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love that.
I do too. I mean, and like I said, I've been on both sides. Mm-hmm. I was a Red Hawk for a while, and wanted to win every game as a Red Hawk, and we had a great time. And then I left. It's funny because I left to have the opportunity to be the head coach at Montgomery Central, and I still pulled for Creekwood, and I wanted them to win, every game except one, and that was the one that when we played Montgomery Central.
Uh-huh.
Now as a Cougar, I am anti Creekwood for that one game. Like I want them to, I don't, nothing, but it's funny how you get that way, and then after that say, hey, yeah, so I hope they have success in their region, but that one game, I don't want you to have any kind of success. I don't want a first down. I don't want you to get, I don't want nothing. I want there no success whatsoever in that one game.
Just what you would expect.
Yeah, right.
As we finish up here, let me just ask you. You were singing my song a while ago when you were talking about your faith comes first,
yes,
and all that. Talk about how that translates with your team, and just setting the example, setting the pace as a leader, and how much faith plays into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I've grown up. I've always believed that, and the one guy, a guy named Jim Graves at Montgomery Central. When I first got to the school, I was first year as the head coach, and I was swimming. I'd never been a head coach before, and I could barely keep my head above water. And Jim Graves, who was a local pastor there, youth pastor at the church, he come to me and was asking, and he had been with the team a little bit as far as, just been around and he said I want to help in any way I can, and that's when we started this character coach idea, and he would bring in local speakers and things, and it really it really was a good thing for the community and for the program, and I've always been that way as far as putting God first, putting my faith first in anything that I do. And like I said, if I can't do that, then I can't. I'm not. If you tell me I can't, then I'm just. I'm sorry. Well, then somebody else needs to do this job, because that's just the way it is. But I believe it's everything, and I don't know exactly how to explain it other than the fact that when you use faith to it radiates, and it gets into other people, and they start seeing, those kids start feeling it and seeing it, and it's awesome, because last year Jabari Killebrew, Jabari, like, I thought I was moving to Dixon to help, because I was led to come to teach a bunch of kids. When I got here, I found out that, the Lord put me in Dixon so Jabari could teach me some things.
He can teach some things.
Right. And that really happened.
Yeah.
And that helped me. It helped Jabari, the team. But what's crazy is now, we always in practice with prayer, and Eli Andrews is like stepped up and is like become the team chaplain, if you will.
That's awesome.
And he prays for us after every practice, and it's just fun to watch how that like I said, it spreads, it radiates. It's just like a pandemic. It just kind of just overtakes a group of people, and that's what's fun about it.
I love that. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show today, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you.
This season, I know it's going to be great. I'm so thankful that you're in Dixon County, and the job you're doing there is much appreciated.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and
hopefully we'll have a little success this year. Hopefully we'll have a lot of success in the future.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that. Looking forward to that first game, and the next show, Justin, we're going to kind of break down some of the scrimmages, and then also look forward to that Dixon County Creekwood. That's what it's all culminating with.
It's all coming together. You wait all summer, and they do all this work, like we said last time, they start in the spring, and go all the way through the summer just to get to, this moment of kickoff. So I'm excited about it. I know the rest of Dixon County is excited about it, and I think we had another good show today.
Absolutely. Yep. Coach T, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It was great again, Justin.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode. This has been Cover 2. See you later. Bye-bye.